With enthusiasm, Yin entered her husband's office without knocking. Jungkook. Yin. She immediately approached her busy husband, getting close and giving him a brief kiss on the cheek. Let's have lunch. Put aside your work for now. I don't want you to be late for a meal. Yin then went to the sofa, placing the packed lunch she brought for her husband and herself. This had been her routine for the past month since they got married. They were married through an arranged marriage orchestrated by their parents' friendship. However, Yin was the one who had feelings for Jungkook and persuaded her parents to arrange their marriage. Despite knowing from the start that Jungkook didn't love her, Yin appreciated his kindness. Although Jungkook hadn't developed romantic feelings yet, he opened his heart to her. Yin was determined to cultivate Jungkook's love for her. Jungkook, come on, let's have lunch. Okay, fine. Finally, Jungkook joined her, and they had lunch together. Yin shared many stories while Jungkook focused on eating, occasionally responding with a faint smile. Eventually, the meal was finished, and Yin left her husband's office. Yin sat on the sofa, waiting for her husband to come home. It was his usual time. Before long, the sound of the apartment door opening indicated his arrival. I'm home. Yin immediately stood up, welcoming her husband with a kiss on the cheek. Welcome home, Jungkook. How was your day? Was it tiring? Not too much. Afterward, she playfully clung to her husband's arm as they both headed to their bedroom. Today, I cooked your favorite dish again. I made mushroom chicken soup. Let's eat soon. Really? Okay. I'll change my clothes first. How was it? Was the food delicious? Yes, it was delicious. What do you want me to cook for you tomorrow? Anything you cook, I'll eat it. Today is Sunday. Yin wakes up late and notices her husband is not beside her, meaning Jungkook woke up early this morning. Yin gets up, washes her face, and plans to leave the room. Yin sees Jungkook talking on the phone. Initially, she intends to approach him as she usually does every morning, giving him a morning kiss on his cheek. However, she stops in her tracks upon hearing Jungkook talking about her. Yin and I are fine, Mom. It's just that she's always clinging to me. Sometimes it makes me uncomfortable. Yes, Mom, I know, but I still prefer it if she doesn't stick to me all the time. Every day, she comes to my office. Sometimes I've told her not to come every day, but she seems to ignore what I say. I avoid arguing with her, so I just let her do as she pleases. It's quite difficult to stop her because she's too spoiled. All right, Mom, I understand. I don't like fighting either. It gives me a headache. Okay, fine. We'll come next week. How's Dad? Is he doing well? Jungkook continues his conversation with his mother, while Yin quietly returns to the room. Yin sits on the edge of the bed. Her heart feels like it's being pinched hearing all of that. She thought that, so far, her relationship with her husband was going well. Seeing how Jungkook's attitude seemed caring and accepting of all her behaviors, it turns out that Jungkook is forced to do that. Apparently, her husband doesn't like the character of a woman like her who always gets close and stays together. Right now, Yin truly feels like crying. She is quite shocked to learn this reality. Come on, Yin. Think positively. Maybe I've been too close and attached to him. Anyway, he's been good to me all this time. So I have to change. I have to reduce my clingy behavior. I don't want to make our relationship toxic. Yin repeatedly tries to calm her heart, trying not to consider this a big deal. After all, there's nothing wrong if he hopes I become more mature and independent. Isn't that a good thing? I'm the one going overboard here. Maybe my parents can accept my attitude like this, but my husband might not. Moreover, we were arranged, and I'm grateful he treats me well. At the core, we don't love each other. I'm the only one who loves him, and he's trying to open his heart to me. Yin plays with her fingers as a sign of her nervousness. Now she feels awkward, not knowing how to act in front of her husband from now on. Yes, her thoughts are to be more independent and not always be attached. Yes, that's it. Until a few minutes later, the sound of the bedroom door being opened is heard, and in comes Jungkook, seeing his wife sitting on the edge of the bed. Oh, you're awake? I thought you weren't yet. Yes, I'm awake. Just woke up. I'll make breakfast first, okay? Yin immediately leaves, leaving Jungkook alone in their bedroom. Since then, her attitude towards him began to change. She didn't distance herself from him, nor did she ignore him, but she started to control herself to behave more maturely and not cling to him as he had complained about. In the morning, Yin greets him with a sweet smile without kissing his cheek. Yin no longer comes to his office for lunch, but she always sends him a message every afternoon. Jungkook, don't forget to have lunch and don't postpone it. Enjoy your lunch. When evening comes, she still waits for him to come home, but there are no more hugs, and she no longer acts affectionately on his arm. Now, she greets his return with just a warm smile. The same goes for bedtime. She no longer hugs him. They sleep on their backs together. It's been almost a week like this, and Jungkook is well aware of the change in Yin's behavior. Certainly, the change in her attitude is exactly what he hoped for. Yin is no longer too clingy. However, there's something bothering him. The change in his wife's behavior surely has a reason. Jungkook is a bit worried, wondering if Yin overheard his conversation with his mother. Is that why she's changed? How does his wife feel after hearing it? Honestly, thinking about it makes Jungkook a bit uneasy, but he gradually brushes it off. It shouldn't be an issue, even if Yin overheard it, especially since now she's not as clingy and dependent. Is this change a good thing? Jungkook repeatedly tries to calm his uneasiness by considering her change as something better than before. So, he shouldn't feel guilty. Today is Sunday. Jungkook and Yin are attending a wedding party for one of their cousins. They are seated at the same table as Jungkook's parents. Shortly after, Yin's parents join them. Yes, Yin's parents were also invited to the party. Seeing their rival makes her very happy. She immediately stands up from her seat and hugs her mother and father in turn. Mom, Dad, I missed you so much. I didn't expect you to come. Sweetheart, we were invited. How have you been, sweetie? I'm fine, Dad. Now, Yin's parents exchange greetings with Jungkook's parents, and they all sit at the same table. The parents are engrossed in conversation while Yin doesn't sit next to Jungkook. This time, Yin sits in the middle between her father and mother, being affectionate and leaning on their hands alternately. Occasionally, her parents' hands stroke her head in turns. They know their daughter must have missed them a lot. Unbeknownst to her, Jungkook's eyes have been quietly observing her. There's a subtle smile on his lips as he momentarily watches Yin being affectionate with her parents. The genuine smile on her face, as she interacts with her parents, unintentionally brings joy to anyone who sees it, including Jungkook. However, that smile suddenly disappears from his lips as he recalls the changes in Yin over the past week. Jungkook now realizes that, for the past week, Yin hasn't smiled as brightly and cheerfully as she used to. When was the last time he saw Yin smiling so joyfully at him? It was when she hadn't changed yet. Currently, Yin, when facing him, has transformed into a graceful and mature woman. Jungkook should be happy about it as it's what he wanted. But why does he find himself missing the cheerful Yin from before? The one who seemed happy and could smile broadly like she does in front of her parents now. Jungkook lowers his head, feeling truly uneasy. He knows that Yin must be under pressure, and he wonders about the emotions she experienced when hearing his words back then. Observing Yin now, Jungkook notices that her usually cheerful smile has been replaced by a forced, thin one when they are together. In this moment of confusion, Jungkook questions himself. What does he truly want from Yin? Does he desire the Yin from the past or the current version? Jungkook remains perplexed, torn between wanting the Yin from the past or the present. He questions himself, uncertain why he suddenly craves the version of Yin that used to be affectionate and smiled freely, as he witnesses the more reserved smile on her face now. Now, they've been home for a few hours, changing into their sleepwear and preparing for bed. Jungkook, already seated on the bed and leaning against the headboard, silently observes his wife's movements. Yin starts to climb onto the bed, smiling softly at her husband before lying down on her back and closing her eyes. Yin, can we talk first? There's something I want to discuss with you. Yin opens her eyes again, looking puzzled as she gazes at him. After a moment, she sits up and joins him on the side of the bed, leaning against the headboard. What do you want to talk about? Jungkook looks intently at his wife's face before carefully starting the conversation. This time, he genuinely wants to avoid making any mistakes that might worsen their situation. I apologize, Yin. Apologize for what? Why are you suddenly apologizing? I know you changed after hearing my conversation with my mom last week. Yin is surprised that Jungkook is addressing this issue. Truthfully, Yin didn't want to discuss it. She is genuinely confused about how to handle the current situation. I thought back then it might be better if you were like you are now. But Yin immediately interrupts, trying to smile in front of him. It's okay. Everyone has their preferences, and you might prefer a more mature and calm woman. That's understandable if you feel uncomfortable with me always being close to you. I'm just used to being around my parents, so I thought. Yin can't continue her words. Suddenly, her chest feels tight. She unexpectedly wants to cry, but she holds back with all her might. She doesn't want to worsen the situation. Jungkook knows. It's true. Yin is actually uncomfortable with her sudden change. That's why I apologize. This situation isn't good for our marriage. Yin, please go back to the way you were before. I want you to be yourself when you're with me. But didn't you say yourself that you didn't like me being clingy and always sticking to you? I was wrong. I thought back then that your affectionate nature was a bit annoying, but now, I miss the person you used to be. I want you to go back to being your old self. Are you sure? Won't you be bothered by my previous behavior? Jungkook smiles faintly, then pulls her into a hug. No, I assure you I won't be bothered anymore because I asked you to be that way. I want you to genuinely feel comfortable with me, just like you are with your parents. Honestly, Yin is touched by what her husband said to her. Unnoticed, a teardrop falls, and she quickly wipes it away. Yin buries her face further into his chest. Why didn't you just directly tell me if there was something you didn't like about me? I have actually talked to you about it, but it seems like you didn't hear me. That's why I let you do whatever you wanted. I don't want us to argue and fight. It just gives me a headache. You talked to me, but it was too subtle, so I didn't realize you were scolding me. So, do you want me to be more harsh with you? Of course not. If you scold me too harshly, I might get offended and more hurt than I am now. We might end up fighting because I would resist. That's why I don't want us to fight like that. Yin tightens her hug around him, smiling widely this time. Jungkook, have you actually started to love me now? Jungkook looks puzzled as he tries to answer, uncertain about his feelings. What do you think? I'm the one asking you. Why are you asking me back? If I say I'm starting to love you, would you be happy? Of course, I'd be very happy. Alright, it seems I am starting to love you. Why are you starting to love me? How could I not start to love you? You always try to keep our situation away from trouble. You're not easily upset. Actually, I find you to be a pretty understanding wife. I'm like this precisely because of you. You restrain yourself from getting angry and let me have my way even though you don't like it. In my opinion, you've been quite patient with me. That's why I don't want to pick a fight with you. Okay then, if your mood is good now, how about we get intimate? Huh, you're really so direct. How can you suggest something like that so straightforwardly? When was the last time we did it? It's been more than a week since we last did it. Don't you want that? Of course. I want that too. With that, one of his hands touched her chin, lifting it so her face tilted upwards, while Jungkook began leaning his face down, and finally, their lips met. They both got carried away in the movement of their lips. What initially started gently turned into something more intense, and tonight, they engaged in passionate activities as husband and wife after a week of abstinence.